Yeah, eat, sleep, fantasy, you rockin' with the best. NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We talking mock drafts, running backs, better follow the conversation with
John,
Dale, Christian, and Armando. Screaming Eat Nation, we doing what we like. Tune in every week, guarantee we get it hype. Fantasy, football enthusiasts, I know you plan to be joining us on Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Yeah, Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Eat, Sleep, Fantasy.
All right, welcome to an episode of Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. I'm your host, Armando Crespo. You can follow me at Thunder Crespo and follow us at Eat, Sleep, FF. With me today is my friend, Jose. What's up, Jose? ¿Qué bola, Jose? All right, I don't have anyone else here. It's just me. I was going to try and do a two-man pod with my alternate identity, my code switching. Not going to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm just going to do a quick mailbag episode. We have a private group, and you can buy into it, and we answer questions on there. You also post your questions. So we're going to try and answer all the questions. We got this post, thanks to Dale. He posted it on our group chat. And the first question is, Carl asks, drunk dial or drunken text? First and foremost, fuck you, Carl. Don't text us and don't call us, please. He does this every night at midnight. He wakes our wives up on Facebook messaging us. So I've deleted Facebook Messenger because of Carl, and I think the rest of the group has because he keeps doing it. But if you had to do one, it's text. So fuck you, Carl. Fuck you. Patrick Slayers asks, can we trust Allen Robinson moving forward? And it's a two-part question. His second one is start 2 or 3, A-Rob, Curtis Samuel, or Robert Woods. I'm going to say you can trust Allen Robinson going forward in PPR formats, half point and standard. I think he's going to get a lot of work. He is the best receiver on that team. He doesn't have an amazing schedule going forward. He does have a couple tougher matchups. So he's going against Dallas, Detroit, Giants. He has a couple of good matchups actually in Kansas City, so that's not terrible. So yeah, I think he's fine as a wide receiver 3 in flex play and definitely in PPR. I don't know how I feel about him in standard. I think he's more touchdown dependent. He only has 3 on the season, so that's another thing. But he does have 532 yards, 47 receptions, so he's okay. If you can trade him or flip him, I would. But if you're playing PPR, I think he's fine. He's not going to lose you the game, if that makes any sense. If you had to pick of the 2 of the 3, I'm going to go Curtis Samuel and A-Rob. Robert Woods is not involved enough in that offense, and Curtis Samuels has that boom potential where Robert Woods has nothing going for him right now. I think he's droppable in almost all formats, not dynasty and deep teams that you have to have like 8 wide receivers. He's fine for like a 5th flex play. But Robert Woods, in my opinion, is cuttable. I don't know how bold that is, but I would definitely consider that idea if there's someone better or even a defense at this point in the season. If you're in the playoffs, like you said, you're going to say your next question. I think he's definitely one of the guys that would appear in my chopping block. So Patrick actually has another question. What would be a good trade target for Marlon Mack? Okay, so this is kind of a tough question because I don't know your roster build, but if you're trading a running back, it's probably good to get a running back in return. So if you're thinking a 1-for-1, I mean, you're going to be looking to buy low or buy high on a player. And if you're looking for something like that, I mean, you can definitely get Marlon Mack for Le'Veon Bell. I know he's a little banged up, but he has a good schedule going forward, and he has a lot more upside than other running backs. Jordan Howard has been on fire, and I don't think it's going to go away. He has an amazing playoff schedule. He's currently the 16th running back, and he plays Miami, the Giants, Washington, and Dallas. Those are his last 4 games this season. So if you are looking to be a little bold and a little crazy, Jordan Howard, maybe even a Miles Sanders and something else will be good. I imagine they're going to try and get Miles Sanders more involved as the season progresses, but if you're looking to buy low or buy high, I mean, those are the 2 guys that I would definitely consider. If you want to go even a little crazier, I mean, David Montgomery's been really good. You might be trying to buy a little high on him. He's on fire. I'm not sure if they'll part with him, but he's currently ranked lower than Jordan Howard. So maybe someone's a little nervous. They want to try and sell him. His schedule isn't great. He plays Dallas, Green Bay, and Kansas City end of the season. But he's got the Giants in there and the Rams. So it's not terrible. So those are a couple of guys that I would consider trading for. I hope that helps. If you're going for wide receivers, I mean, I hope you're really deep at running back to make a trade like that. But, I mean, I would consider someone like DJ Chark, or maybe the DeAndre Hopkins owner is getting a little scared and you can get DeAndre Hopkins. I really like Courtland Sutton. He's coming off a bye. They're going to have a new quarterback. Anything's better than Joe Flacco. So maybe you can do, Courtland Sutton and something else. Your running backs are more valuable. So maybe you could do like Courtland Sutton and Miles Sanders. Something like that. I would look at scheduling. Scheduling right now for me is the biggest thing. And if you have any scrub on your team, cut them for a good defense. Pittsburgh is one of my top ones right now for the playoffs. So David Ogburn has another question. What do you do with AJ Green? Try and trade him or what? I've tried trading him. Nobody wants him. I don't know if you read the news, but now he's out indefinitely. So I think it's time to cut him. If you try and find someone who's not paying attention to the news or doesn't have SleeperBot, and send him for Sanu. That's who I've been targeting. Someone like Sanu, someone who has maybe Josh Gordon, a little bit of upside, or someone that needs like a team that has a great team that's going to be in the playoffs and they have some extra depth and they want some high upside for the playoffs. You can try and get someone off that roster to because right now AJ Green is completely zero value for the rest of the redraft season. Obviously, in Dynasty and Keeper, he has a ton of value, but for redraft, he is useless. Stephanie Ski asked, best fantasy question? Best fantasy question is no question, because then I don't have to do this episode. If tomatoes are fruits, is ketchup a smoothie? Well, the thing about smoothies is I don't think you usually add sugar to it. So with ketchup, there's a ton of other added preservatives to it because you don't just blend tomatoes, right? You have to, and make ketchup, you have to add sugar. You have to add, I think you add like a balsamic vinegar or some sort of vinegar. I can't remember what it is. So technically it's not a smoothie because you're not adding other fruit things to it, and it's not all natural maybe. I don't know. It's the sugar thing that kind of throws me off with the smoothie. I think smoothies are supposed to be healthy, and I don't think it is. Sorry, that was way too much into the ketchup part. Would you rather have dicks for arms or an extra arm where your dick is? So thanks, Richard, for that question. I would not rather have dicks for arms because then what if they get hard at the same time? Then you have to go, it's dangerous. And then you have no way of using them, like, and you're alone. Like, there's no way to, if you know what I'm getting at, what do you do with the two dicks? So it's definitely not the two dicks. And if you're putting your dick, another arm where your dick is, do you still have a dick? Does it go somewhere else? Is it going to be on my thigh? If then that's great. It can wear special pants. And okay. Stephanie Ski asks, play two. Greg Olsen, Tyler Boyd, Ty Johnson, Devontae Parker. You're playing Devontae Parker and you're playing Tyler Boyd. The high upside guys. Greg Olsen has a very good chance of busting. And we know that Devontae Parker and Tyler Boyd have been consistent and heavily involved in the offense. T. Johnson is pretty much droppable, I would say, in literally every format minus something like an SFB super deep league. So, yeah, it's not the... Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy question. Sorry, didn't mean to say that. Brian Bruno says, streaming tight end. I have Jay Smith on Tennessee versus KC, but is he droppable this week for Geisky on Miami versus Indy? No. If Walker is out, you start Smith. Geisky had a one hit. He's been involved a little bit, but I don't think you can trust him. Is it Gesicki? I guess it doesn't matter because I'm alone on this episode and no one gives a fuck because I don't. Yeah, so I would go with Smith. I think Gesicki is too much question marks. You want to have a win there. So next question is Bilal Powell or Ty Montgomery? Who's a handcuff to Bell? So in my opinion, it is Bilal Powell. Ty Montgomery is involved in the day-to-day when they play the game, but I do believe that Bilal Powell will be the number one RB if Bell goes down. I think you can trust that. There isn't too much worry for me. I think Ty Montgomery is not a all-down back as a change of pace guy, and I think he'll still be involved. He'll probably have the same similar role if Bell goes down. Yeah, so he's available in most leagues, and most people do own Ty Montgomery as a handcuff, which I think is kind of a mistake. I have cut Ty Montgomery in all formats, and I'm going after Bilal Powell, who's available widely because I own Bell in a few leagues. Clayton can do answer that question online. What's Sonny's value rest of season? Okay, that's a good question, Kyle. I think this is completely based off your belief on the New England Patriots running back scheme. With Rex Burkhead, with Rex Burkhead coming back, he kind of muddled the water a bit. Actually, a lot. He's eating away at James White's value and Sonny Michel. But like I said earlier, Sonny Michel has a great schedule going forward. You know he's going to carry the rock at least 15 times, and he's limitedly involved in the passing game, probably 1 or 2 targets a game at this point. He started off hot with the passing game, but it has completely dwindled away to like 2. So I think having a running back that's involved that much is important. Rex Burkhead does eat away. I think moving forward, I would value Sonny Michel rest of season as an RB3, but I think his value will increase a lot more to an RB2 once the playoffs hit because of his schedule. I'm very into looking at playoff schedules and how to target players that have a good schedule. So that's something to look at. I do think that if you can get Sonny Michel for someone like Ty Johnson and another thing, I think Sonny Michel will have better days. I don't think he's very valuable right now to anyone who owns him, but that's just me. Fantasy playoff dark horse MVP. So if you're talking about dark horse, I think that's kind of where Sonny Michel falls. I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone of a handcuff, someone like a Bilal Powell or a Tony Pollard or Wayne Gallman. With 4 weeks left in the season, I think it's a great time to get your handcuffs and hold on to them. With every chance you can, start cutting players, start trading with players that have no real value to you and winning a championship because they are useless. Now is the time to start condensing your roster. You have 4 weeks left. People are trying to make a push. You've already made that push. So just trade away your depth and try and increase a couple of players and then get your handcuffs right away. I own all my handcuffs in all my leagues. I refuse to be the guy who loses out on, like Melvin Gordon last season, not have Justin Jackson, and you fucking lose a championship because of that bullshit. You know what I'm talking about. Jamie Ibarra asks, Juju or D Parker? This is full PPR. Ooh, I'm gonna say Devontae Parker. I know that's a little crazy, and you could tell me to fuck off, but most people will by the end of this episode. Yeah, I'm going towards Devontae Parker. He's heavily involved. Preston Williams is out, and Mark Walton is out. So everyone expects a huge increase for Devontae Parker. I know John has a hard-on for Alan Hearns for whatever reason. There's a reason why he's in last place in our listener league. And Jamie has another question. Calvin Ridley or John Brown? I think you got to go John Brown right now. He's a number one on that offense. If there is a number one, he's currently in the top 15 in wide receivers. Calvin Ridley is very good, and I think he's more talented than John Brown. But yeah, I think John Brown's a safer bet right now. Calvin Ridley has been up and down. He has had great games, but he's also had busts and cost people games. Me. And I just want to say that this episode was brought to you by fantasygo.com and David, whoever the fuck David is. Dale's going to be mad that I said that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. Don't forget to follow us at Eat Sleep FF, and I hope you loved this episode because I sure didn't. Thanks for tuning in, and I love you all so much.
All right, this is John Chapman with Eat Sleep Fantasy, and what I wanted to do today is just take a quick step back and pay attention to the big picture. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a real quick rundown of the top 10 at each position and then get into consistency rankings, okay? Consistency rankings are anytime a player has over 100 yards at their position or a touchdown a given week and figure out those percentages. So just stay with us real quick, and what we're going to do is just fly through this, give a little bit of analysis and whatnot. All of our scoring is going to be PPR, point per reception, but let's start with the quarterback position. And it's pretty interesting whenever you look at how it all plays out because, man, the number 10 quarterback in the NFL fantasy-wise, he's not going to be for long, is Gardner Minshew. He's somebody that was able to come in, do extremely well right off the bat, but now he's going back to the bench. And in most leagues, Foles is available. Go get this guy. This is not the traditional Jacksonville offense where they're just, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Gardner Minshew had 307 pass attempts in 9 games. They're throwing the ball. Go get Nick Foles wherever he is. Number 9, Kyler Murray. He comes in with 190 points. Again, that rushing yards helps so much. He has 313 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns to make up for only 9 passing touchdowns. You do not have to be a throwing quarterback in the fantasy football game to have value. You rushing yards are key. Number 8, Jameis Winston. Proof that you don't have to be a good quarterback to have fantasy relevance. 16 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. They're not going away from him. And the problem with Jameis Winston is you have to pay attention to the defense he is going against because he can put up 0 numbers. Tom Brady, number 7. Very, very consistent. Not a lot of negative plays. And what makes Tom Brady so special, 3 rushing touchdowns. Those quarterback sneaks whenever they're on the half-yard line after Sony Michel can't punch it in. I do not value Tom Brady as a top 10 quarterback rest of season, but if you have him, maybe you could trade him after this bye week. Who knows? Get something for him. Matthew Stafford, number 6. They are airing the ball out the old Matthew Stafford way. If they would have pulled out a couple more victories, Matthew Stafford would be talked about in the MVP candidate race, but they lost a couple close ones, got a tie, but he's playing a hell of a season so far. Aaron Rodgers, number 5 overall quarterback. Goodness, when he is on, he is on. But unfortunately, when he is off and the team is off, it gets bad quick. But Aaron Rodgers, number 5. Dak Prescott, a big surprise. Number 4, every single year he has been a quarterback. He has finished as a top 10 fantasy quarterback, and it looks like that is going to continue. The number 4. The top 3 guys, probably no surprise. Lamar Jackson, holy cow, 637 yards at the... he's only played 8 games, folks. He's halfway to 1,000 yards. He's past it. He's going to have over 1,000 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, it doesn't matter who he plays against, he puts up numbers. Deshaun Watson's number 2, and these next 2 guys are kind of in a league of their own. 251.5 points for Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, 251.6. 1/10 of a point is separating these 2 amazing players, leading the MVP candidate race, and the numbers are just amazing. Deshaun Watson, 18 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, 5 rushing touchdowns. Russell Wilson, 22 touchdowns, 1 interception, 3 rushing touchdowns. That is the quarterback position. Now, we're going to go a little bit quicker for our other ones, but I wanted to break those down. Here we go. Running back position. Number 10, Josh Jacobs. He's the real deal. He's a top 10 guy rest of season. Derrick Henry, number 9. He's got the touchdowns. He's got the volume. He's even getting a little bit of passing work. You can buy low a little bit right now on Derrick Henry. I do think Ryan Tannehill makes him more valuable. Number 8, Chris Carson. Who would have guessed everybody else would have got hurt? Not sure he can sustain this, but as of now, Chris Carson is the guy in Seattle. They're not as run-heavy as they were last year, but still a lot of potential there. Ezekiel Elliott, number 7. That number's only going to go up. It's crazy. He doesn't have that many carries whenever you look at the people that are in contention around him, but very, very efficient. Nick Chubb, number 6. That one is the sell high. If you haven't sold him yet, we've been telling you to for a month. He is only going to go down. Kareem Hunt's about to take away a lot of his touches. Leonard Fournette, number 5 overall. A little bit of a surprise, but we knew once the usage totals came out week 1, week 2, only a matter of time before this guy starts getting in the end zone. He's the number 5 overall running back with 1 touchdown. He's got 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown. But his usage totals are insane. He is a top 3 rest of season running back. Aaron Jones, number 4. His passing game work is huge. 3 receiving touchdowns. Austin Eckler, number 3. He just keeps catching the ball. He's got 55 receptions already at the midway point with 5 touchdowns. But again, I do not think that he will be able to sustain that. Dalvin Cook, number 2, who most years would be the all-out number 1 fantasy running back with the numbers he's putting up. 9 rushing touchdowns, almost 900 total yards. But Christian McCaffrey, the creme de la creme, he is special, special, special. He is on pace for the greatest fantasy season in the history of football. LaDainian Tomlinson holds the overall all-time record, and Christian McCaffrey's on pace to break that. So that's the number 1. Should have been the number 1 overall pick. If you went Saquon, you're not upset about it, but we definitely said, it's him. it's Saquon or CMC. Anybody else that put another name in there, whether that was Zeke or whomever, Alvin Kamara, that's fine. It should have been CMC or Saquon. So I got CMC in a lot of leagues, and it has paid off very, very well. Let's jump to the wide receiver position. Number 10, Julio Jones, coming off a bye week. He is getting into the end zone. He's already got 4 touchdowns. You know, he's not a big touchdown guy, but his yards are always key. Julio Jones. Amari Cooper, number 9 overall. He's had some huge games and some not so huge games, but he's getting in the end zone. 6 touchdowns already. DJ Chark, yeah, just like we all thought. 692 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns, and Nick Foles is coming back, which I think is only going to help him. Nick Foles can throw that deep ball very well. Julian Edelman, he's got 90 targets. He's up in the NFL lead for targets. He's playing very, very well. DeAndre Hopkins, number 6, despite not getting in the end zone, it does not matter. Buy low on Hopkins. He is, if I was redrafting right now, he would be the number 2 wide receiver behind only Michael Thomas. He's still got to be up there because of the quarterback play, because of the offense, and he's getting all of the work. He just hasn't gotten the touchdowns, but once those come, he's going to be special. Chris Godwin, number 5. Wow. The Tampa Bay Bucks have 2 guys in the top 5, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin is special. The problem is, because of Bruce Arians and Jameis Winston, sometimes these guys disappear. They're either the top wide receiver or sometimes even a goose egg. You know, Mike Evans put up a 0 game, which hurts. He's very off and on. Cooper Kupp, number 4. He has 5 touchdown passes, 793 yards out of the slot position, and with Brandon Cooks injured, that is not going to change. Perhaps his volume goes up, which is hard to believe. Tyler Lockett, number 3. Goodness, he's been so efficient for fantasy owners, and we've always said all he needs is more volume. All he needs is more volume. Well, guess what? He's finally getting it. A top 3 option. Mike Evans is number 2, who we just talked about, 7 touchdowns. Holy cow. And then Michael Thomas. Goodness, as safe can be. He's got 73 receptions. He's 5 ahead of DeAndre Hopkins for the NFL lead. He catches everything, and he just got his quarterback back. It's only going to get better. It is only going to get better. All right, let's move on to the tight end position. And yikes, this is gross, scary. Ugh, yuck. PPR scoring, number 10, Jason Witten. We knew the value was going to be there if you waited on tight end. He's got a lot of receptions, 34, 2 touchdowns. Hunter Henry, despite missing 3 games, he's only played 5 games. He's already up there. Darren Fells, yeah, just like we all thought, the touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, leading all tight ends. Currently, Mark Andrews, who got off to the hot start, he's calmed down a little bit, but still a lot of fantasy relevance. Evan Ingram, who's going to be missing this week, he's in at the 6th spot. Zach Ertz, very, very slow start, but the back-to-back huge games, he's at number 5. George Kittle, number 4. Only expect that to go up. Now, there is some possibility he could miss this game, but if he plays, you start him. Darren Waller, good Lord, 48 catches, out of nowhere, new contract, showing everybody what he is. Travis Kelce, number 2, just like we all thought. And number 1, Austin Hooper? Austin Hooper? He's got 5 touchdowns, 591 yards, 52 receptions, and I think his workload is only going to go up. With Mohamed Sanu gone, that kind of affects the way it all goes, and it's going to continue for sure. Now, before I leave you guys alone for the next ESF tidbit, I want to make sure we talk about consistency. Okay, these are games with 100-plus yards from scrimmage or a touchdown, and you're going to find some shockers on here. There are only 3 players, and I want to say only 2 players because this one doesn't really count. It's what it is, but 2 players. There's 2 players that have had 100 yards from scrimmage or a touchdown. Dalvin Cook, 7 games with over 100 yards from scrimmage, 7 games with a touchdown. This doesn't count the last game. It hasn't been updated just yet. Ezekiel Elliott, he's got 5 games with over 100 yards and 6 games with a touchdown. They had their bye week, so he's 100%. David Johnson would have been on there except for that one play where he played the first series and came out. But the crazy thing is, David Johnson, who from fantasy perspective has not paid off, the 4 games that he started, he got 100 yards or a touchdown in all of them. which is frightening. Christian McCaffrey, who's the number one player in all of fantasy, he did have one game where he did not reach 100 yards rushing, or 100 yards from scrimmage. Outside of that, it's Tampa Bay. It's so weird. For some reason, Christian McCaffrey is so special against everyone except for Tampa Bay. Todd Gurley, who has missed a couple of games, and again, if they don't start, it doesn't fall under this category, but he has 5 games with one touchdown or more, and one additional game with over 100 yards scrimmage. Terrell Williams, who, when he's out there, man, this Oakland offense is firing on all cylinders. And when they get in the goal line, they're throwing the ball up. So he's at 83%. With one of those, he's got 5 games with a touchdown and one 100-yard game. Jamal Williams, 80% consistency, 5 touchdown games and 1 game with over 100 yards. Kerryon Johnson, he was at 80% before he went to IR. Derrick Henry, 78%. Kenny Golladay, 75%. Mari Cooper, 75%. James Conner, 71%. Adam Thielen, 71%. And this is what I do. Again, if you guys have followed us, especially me, I'm not a huge home run hitter. That's not what I want out of fantasy players. I don't like boom-bust guys. Guys like Mike Evans, who is amazing and the number 2 overall guy, who I love. I would much rather prefer a Julio Jones. I would much rather prefer DeAndre Hopkins, guys like that, because of the consistency. I don't want somebody that's going to put a donut in my lineup whenever I just need 10 points. I want everybody contributing points. And these consistency rankings, these guys that I keep rattling off, just a couple more numbers real quick. Chris Carson, 67% of the time he hits with a touchdown or 100-yard game. Aaron Jones, 67. Tyler Lockett, 67. Saquon, 67. David Montgomery, Chase Edmonds, T.Y. Hilton, Cooper Kupp, Josh Jacobs. These guys are all in that category. These are the players I want. So what do we do with this information? Moving forward, trading deadlines are very soon. We're in week 10. Usually trading deadlines are week 12 or 13. You are now looking to where you are. So there's 3 categories of teams, okay? If you're in a redraft league, you're in the playoffs, you are trying to trade with middle-tier teams or teams that still have a chance. If a team's, 2-8, they're done. They're done. They shouldn't be trading because there's no way they can win unless they want to play spoiler, whatever else. You are trying to capitalize on teams on the bubble. Now, if you're a bubble team, you got to get aggressive. You got to get aggressive. You got to roll the dice a little bit because it's not enough just to get into the playoffs. That shouldn't be your goal. You're overanalyzing. You're paying attention to playoff schedules. You're paying attention to where are my weaknesses going to be once everybody comes back to health or from IR, things like that. You are digging deep. So try to pair that with, if you got to overpay, you got to overpay. It's what it is. Go get these premier type players, the players that we talked about today that are in the top 10. If you have somebody like an Austin Eckler, go sell it. You can still sell that player. People still want him, especially in full PPR, because he catches the ball so damn much. Trade him for somebody like an Aaron Jones. Trade him for somebody like, I don't want to say David Montgomery, but somebody like a Cooper Kupp. Go get these types of guys, these types of players that are going to help you. So hopefully this helped a little bit. I just wanted to kind of step back and see, gives us a little bit of a picture, almost if we were to redraft today, which players would be at the top. We had the top 10 of each one of those 4 position groups. Doesn't mean those are the top guys left for the rest of the season. You've got to be able to find that and figure that out, and we're going to be here to help you with that. So, again, if you don't follow me, head over to Twitter at JL_Chapman. If you got any questions, please hit me up. My DMs are always open. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Eat, sleep, fantasy, you rockin' with the best. NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We talking mock drafts, running backs, better follow the conversation with John, Dale, Christian, and Armando. Screaming Eat Nation, we doing what we like. Tune in every week, guarantee we get it hype. Fantasy football enthusiasts, I know you plan to be joining us on Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Yeah, Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Eat, Sleep, Fantasy.